guys, I'm Kat, and this is my very first YouTube video ever. It's something I've always wanted to do, and for the first one I thought what better to be to kick off my beauty channel than my everyday makeup. So this is just kind of something that I do. I don't really wear makeup every day, but I do most days because I do go out and do things, and I just love putting on makeup, so why not do it as much as I can? So this is just something that I do when I'm going out seeing friends, going to like lunch, just like maybe just hanging around the house. Like this is just my basic, everyday, simple, easy, pretty makeup. So if you want to see how I did this, then please just keep watching. Bye! Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do before I get started with my makeup is put my hair up. Just kind of like a messy little bun. Nothing too fancy. Okay, so first I'm going to prep my skin, and to do that I'm going to use the Too Faced Hangover RX primer. And I'm going to use about like a pump and a half of that, and just kind of put it all over my face. So I'm going to let that sit for a minute. Okay, so because I have like super big pores, I'm going to use this Smashbox Photo Finish foundation primer. It's like the pore minimizing one. This stuff seriously is so good. Like it fills those pores. Okay, so I'm just going to take like a little bit, like not a lot, because like mainly it's just right here and on my nose. That is my problem areas. And I'm just going to kind of like softly like kind of pat it. Rub it in. Okay, so once my base is on, I'm going to start with foundation. And for foundation today, since it's just kind of like a light, my kind of everyday foundation, I'm going to use the It Cosmetics CC cream. And right now I'm kind of like a weird shade, like it's like that after summer going into fall color. So I'm going to use a combination of medium and light. And I'm going to take about a pump of each on the back of my hand, and then just kind of like swirl it together. And then just dot it all over my face. And then a little bit down my neck, just to make sure everything is the same color. Maybe got a little bit too much, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with a little bit of full coverage. Okay, so to blend that in, I'm going to use my Real Techniques beauty sponge. And I just like pounce it everywhere. I love this thing. And get it all up by the ears. Blend everything that I had down my neck. So we don't have like a weird line. No one wants a makeup line. Okay, so that's all on, and my skin's all evened out, and everything that I want covered is covered. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to go in with is my Urban Decay Naked Skin concealer. This stuff literally is so good. And I'm just going to kind of put that on like all the basic like concealing and highlighting areas. So like a little bit under the eyes. I love to highlight, like, every time I do my makeup, never miss it. A little bit down my nose, there, bam. I don't really, like, go too crazy around, like, I mostly just do, like, the center, like, the high points. And then I'm going to take that same Real Techniques sponge and just kind of go ham, blend it out. Kind of get it onto the eyelids, too. Just, like, a little base. So once all that's like blended out and stuff, I'm going to take this NYX HD, it's kind of like a banana powder, and I'm going to take the same Real Techniques sponge. I'm just going to like dip it in and just like set it. I like using this because I feel like for me, powder looks really powdery on my face. Like I don't know what it is. It's kind of hard for me to not get that powdery look, and it's not like I'm wearing a lot. I don't know, it's just kind of a problem I have. So for this, since the sponge is a little bit damp, I feel like it kind of like makes the powder a little like lighter and not so like bam powders on your face. So I really like this technique. And since I do have fairly oily skin and it is still pretty hot where I live, I'm going to go in with my MAC Studio Fix powder in NC35, and I'm just going to like lightly dust that all over the side, like the perimeters of my face where I didn't put the banana shade. And since this is like a powder foundation, I just like use a tiny little like whoop, and then everywhere. Okay, so now that I'm done with like my base, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna do my brows. So since today's kind of like a lighter, like everyday day, I use the Dip Brow Pomade in Blonde. I usually use the one in Soft Brown, but when I'm going for kind of like a, not no makeup, but like a really light everyday makeup, I use the blonde one because it's a little bit softer, not so like bam, like brows. So I just kind of brush it through with this like little brush that I got from Walmart, which I love for my brows. Like since I have like fairly thicker brows, it's like a thicker angled brush, and I just think it's like easier to just like go in and do something light. And the spoolie's like, I love it. I love this brush. So I'm gonna go in and like just take a little bit of it. I really don't go too crazy, and I just mostly make the tail a little bit longer because I think like it's just my tail's a little bit shorter than I like it to be. And then just anywhere where I feel like I don't have as much hair as I'd like there to be, I just go in and I fill it in. So yeah, that's it. Just really easy. I don't do too much with my brows, honestly. They're pretty full on their own and I don't really like to mess with them. So yeah, that's all I do to my brows. Super easy. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to go on, I'm going to start on my eyes. So I'm going to use a MAC Paint Pot as my primer, and it's in Utterly Becoming. It's something that I got in a holiday set. I just like it because it's like basically like Painterly, but like a tiny bit darker and like kind of more neutral. So I like that for my eyes. But Painterly, Soft Ochre, anything you want to use will be fine. I'm going to just use that with my finger and put it all over my eyelids. So for my eye look today, I love like rosy tones, so I'm going to be using the Lorac Unzipped palette. And so to start off my eye look, I'm just going to take just like a big like fluffy, I don't even know where I got this brush, it's like a really fat brush. And I'm going to take this like light skin tone shade, I'm just going to set the paint pot. Okay, and then for my brow bone highlight, I'm going to go in with that same, like, the lightest shade in the palette, and I'm just going to pack that, like, more onto the eyelid, I mean, onto the brow bone. Okay. So for my crease shade, I'm going to take Unconditional on like a MAC 224 brush, and I'm just going to get like a good swirl of that and just like kind of just bust it into the crease, just kind of like messily, not being too careful. I like my eyeshadows just like really smoky and blown out, like no matter really what kind of day it is or what I'm doing that day, it's just really what I like. So I just do it like really crazy, just everywhere. And just get it to match the other side. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with the MAC 217, and I'm going to dip into Unspoken, which is just like a little bit of a darker brown, and I'm going to just take a little bit of it, not a lot, just give a little bit more definition into the crease, and I'm just going to, yeah, put that right in there, right in my socket, and work it in. Okay. And for my lid shade, I'm just going to take like a little flat synthetic brush, and I'm going to dip into Unreal, which is just like this really light, pretty pink. And I'm just going to pack that all over the lid. Not really being too careful, just getting it on there. Like that. So then I'm going to go back into my blending brush, my 224, and I'm just going to like kind of get those lines and make sure everything is just seamless, and like this is literally it for the eyes, 3 eyeshadows. Put a little bit of more brow bone highlight because I got a little carried away in the crease. Went up a little too far, but that's easy to fix. And just blend some more. And I did get like a little too crazy and went a little too far down. Get that kind of black eye effect. So I'm just going to go in with like a tiny bit of concealer and just kind of like fix it so I don't look like I got punched in the face. And even though like I have powder down, like that tiny little bit right there isn't gonna do like crazy cakiness for me. It'll just keep it so that my eyeshadow is nice and crisp and in the lines. And I'm just going to go in with my Beauty Blender or my Real Technique sponge and just kind of make it so there's not any crazy concealer lines. I'll go back in and blend. Because like I'm not really a fan of that like crazy harsh line, so I just kind of want to soften it, but still keeping it kind of like in that guide that I just created with the concealer. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how that looks now. So then now I'm going to go in with, this is like a little brush that came in a Tarte palette I got, and I love it for the under eyes. It's just like soft and fluffy, and I can just like fluff eyeshadow in there. I love it. So I'm going to go in with that same shade that I used in my crease first, Unconditional, and I'm just going to like buff that all over the bottom lash line. I kind of like to take it pretty far down, not too crazy, but about where my eyelashes end is where I like to take it. And I have fairly long bottom eyelashes, so yeah, it goes down pretty far. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with this little detailer brush and that our Brow Bone highlight shade, and I'm just going to pop that in the inner corners. A little bit of fallout, I just kind of pounce it away. Okay, so the eyes are done, the eyeshadow is all done, and so now I'm going to move on to the face. Alright, so for kind of like a light bronze contour, I love to use this Jane Cosmetics bronzer in the shade Dream. It's just like a really nice shade, and it's like good for warming up the face. I think it like defines the cheekbone nicely. It's not too orange or anything too crazy. And I just use this Real Techniques like fluffy like little powder brush, and I just swirl it in because it's not too pigmented, which I like, so it's not like really easy to go overboard, because that really does happen. That is a common problem for me sometimes, a little too ham with the bronzer. But that's why I like this one, because I have a little bit more control. Take that under the jaw, so kind of hide that little double chin that I get sometimes. You know how it goes. Okay, so bronzer's done. Just kind of like defines the cheekbones a little bit. I love this stuff. Like bronzer, it's my jam. Now for blush, I love these like e.l.f. like little blush palettes. They're only $6, and there's another, this is the light one, and they have one in dark. And so basically, like, it's everything you could ever want. Like, I love these things. Super cheap, super pigmented, fairly blendable. Love them. Okay, so I'm gonna like go in with a mixture of this like pretty light pink and this like peach, because I don't want something super pink, because the eyes are kind of like a pinky purple sort of color, so I don't want anything too like crazy. So, just gonna dip into those two and see what comes out. Okay, so that's the blush. I love it. It's like a pinky peach. Love it. I think it looks really nice with these eyes. It just kind of like livens up the face. Okay, and for highlighter, I love to use, this is like the MAC Osborne collection, and this is a Sharon's bronzer, and the highlight in this is so pretty. It gives like this really nice pink like highlight to the cheek. I love pink highlighters. I don't know what it is. Like there's sometimes I'll choose pink eyeshadow, like really shimmery one. I just think it looks so pretty. So I'm just going to dip in to the bottom half of this bronzer, and I'm just going to put that on the tops of my cheekbones, Cupid's bow, nose, all those basic glowing from the heaven places. I think it's so pretty. Oh, love it. A little bit over the eyebrows, Cupid's bow, nose, chin. I think that's good. Today, a little more subtle look. Okay, and now I'm going to go in with mascara. Okay, so the mascara I'm going to be using today is the Wet n Wild Mega Length. I like this. I've kind of like run out of mascaras right now. It's not my favorite that I've ever used, but I think it gives really good length, which is what I'm looking for. I'm not really like a volume mascara kind of person. Mostly just like a length. I love the L'Oreal Telescopic, but I need to like run out and get mascara pronto, because I am out. So I'm just gonna like coat I could give a good big coat to my top and bottom lashes. Okay, so if this happens, just let it dry for a couple minutes and then just flick it off with a cotton swab and you're good. Or just, yeah, flick it off, put a little more concealer on it, and you're Gucci. Oh god, I made it worse. Oh my goodness. This is not a good mascara day. Look at this. Oh my. Just one of those days. That's one of the things I don't like about this mascara. I don't know what it is, but I get it everywhere. It's just not having it right now. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the lips right now, and for that, what are we gonna do? Alright, come on down. Okay. So I feel like a lot of people would just kind of like throw on a gloss at this point, something light, but I don't know what it is. I'm just not a gloss person. It's just like my hair gets in it. It's a little, like even the most unsticky glosses, like I just, not for me. So I'm just gonna take a lipstick, just like a nice, pretty, light pink nude lipstick, and pop it on. Alright, so I'm gonna go in with MAC's Cream Cup. I feel like everyone's seen this. Just like a really pretty, light, nude pink. Perfect for like every day if you don't want something too crazy, too nude, too pink. It's like that perfect even for everything. There you go. So waiting for those smudges to dry, take my hair down. Okay. Okay guys, so this is the final look, my like everyday makeup look. I'll kind of zoom you in on the eyes a little bit, just so you can see. There you go, it's just like a pretty soft purple, pink lips, mascara, nothing too crazy.